Hello and welcome back to video classes by Konnur English Medium School. We were discussing a lesson for Nakul, the 5th chapter in your syllabus. We were talking about Akash and Nakul, who study in the same school. However, they seem to have two different attitudes, completely two different attitudes towards life. So we saw that Akash sounded a little cheerful, happy, and positive towards things around him, whereas Nakul seemed a little pessimistic, negative, upset and worrying most of the times. And this continues, and we will see how Akash handles Nakul's negativity and whether Nakul will be able to change himself for better. So where did we stop? Was line number 9. Akash was a new boy. He had joined the boarding school almost at the end of the first term. When the room was silent that night, Akash woke up suddenly. He looked at the next bed and saw Nakul was awake. "What's the matter?" Akash whispered. I have made a terrible mistake," Nakul said. So what was that terrible mistake? I asked you at the end of that video session. And we have the answer now. That mistake was, I am sure I have forgotten something. I think I have either written my name or my roll number on the maths answer script incorrectly. So he says, I have forgotten to write either my name or the roll number on the answer sheet. So we know that they had mathematics paper that day. They had completed the mathematics paper. Now, Nakul is not able to sleep that night because he's worrying that he's forgotten either to write his name or roll number on the paper. So he's nervous, he's very worried because of that. So, oh, is that all, says Akash? But for Akash, that's not something very worrying. I thought something awful had happened. He thinks the way he was awake, Nakul was awake, not able to sleep. The way he said, I have made a terrible mistake. Akash thought something serious had happened, but Nakul says he has forgotten to write his name. He is not sure whether it is his name or the roll number. He thinks either of them, yes. So something he has forgotten to write either of them. So is that all? I thought something terrible had happened. So look, it's just 9:30. Our teacher is sure to be up. Let's go and see him. You can explain what's wrong. He says, well, why are you worrying so much for that? Because see, that was a boarding school where teachers and students lived in the same campus, yes. There were quarters for teachers to live and students lived in their hostel dormitories. So Akash says, let's go and meet the mathematics teacher. I'm sure he's still awake because it's only 9:30 now. So children are supposed to go to bed early in hostels, right? So lights are switched off by wardens, strict warnings are given if you are still awake after lights go off. So all activity is terminated early for students to go to bed. So children were in bed already, but most teachers would be, yes, grown-ups would be awake by 9:30. So he says, let's go and talk to the teacher. I'm sure he's still awake. And you can tell him that you have forgotten to write either your name or roll number in the maths paper. Nakul says, oh, you're coming with me? He's relieved that somebody is trying to help him there. He knew that he could go and talk to the teacher, but maybe he didn't have the courage to go and talk to him alone. So he's happy that his friend Akash is willing to join him, willing to go with him. So, you're coming, thanks, he says. So the boys crept out of their room and walked to the master's study. Study is a room where, you sit and read something or work on something. That's a part of your house. They go to meet the teacher, and the teacher was in his study room. So, Mr. Varghese was startled to see them and listen to Nakul's stammered explanation. He unlocked a drawer and went through the answer scripts. So, when these two boys turned up at 9:30 at his house, so he was actually shocked because that's very unusual for children to go meeting teachers at that time of the day. So Obviously he was worried something might have happened. But Nakul explains to him in a stuttering, stammering voice, saying that I think I have, I'm not sure whether I have written my name. I think I have forgotten to write my roll number, sir. I am sorry, sir. I have really made a terrible mistake, like that. He goes on, stammering and stuttering here and there. And the teacher listens to him. And then yes, it could be a problem for evaluation if the name and roll number is not written correctly. So maybe in their school there is a rule, if the roll number or the name is missing, the paper will not be evaluated, or there will be some sort of penalty for forgetting to write name or roll number. So maybe that's why Nakul was worried. So the teacher understands that. He goes to his drawers when he had kept the bundle of answer sheets that he had collected from students that day, math answer papers, and he goes through the bundle of papers and then finds Nakul's paper. Yes, so and he comes back and says, well, you have written your name and roll number, Nakul. You panicked unnecessarily. And then the boys go back to the dormitory. See, everything was okay. He had written his name as well as the roll number on the paper correctly. But he was worried unnecessarily. So some of us do that. We worry about things unnecessarily. We put those negative thoughts in our own heads. And then once we plant that seed of unnecessary thought, it grows, and then we keep on worrying about it. So he should have tried to remember what he had exactly done. He should have reassured him that everything was okay, but instead of that, he decided that something was wrong. He told himself that something was wrong, and doing so, he got into that worrying mode, and then he made everybody nervous. But to everybody's relief now, it is discovered that he had written his name and roll number correctly in the answer sheet. So the two boys, Nakul and Akash, they go back to their hostel room. Soon the examinations were behind them, and the next event the boys looked forward to was the school's annual day. As Nakul was tall and well built for his age, the master chose him to play an important role in a drama. So the school days were coming to an end, the second semester was coming to an end, and we all know at the end of the second semester, towards the end of the second semester, which completes the whole year, there are cultural activities like annual day celebrations. So Nakul and Akash's school had an annual day celebration coming up too. So there were stage plays, dances, dramas, and all those things. And Nakul was tall and good looking, yes, by appearance. So one of his teachers chose him to play an important role in a drama that the children were preparing for. Help, I've got to learn so many lines, Nakul groaned. Now, drama means you have to memorize your lines. Yes, you've been given a script for your character, for your role. There are a number of dialogues, then you have to prepare them, you have to get them by heart, and you also have to learn how to deliver those pieces of dialogue. So Nakul had a script given to him, and now he's worried that he has to memorize so many things. Yes, he has accepted that role happily. Now when he looks at his script, he's nervous again. Nervous because he has to memorize so many lines. He says, help me, I have so many lines to memorize. He groaned. Groaning is making a complaining sound. I'll help you to practice till you are word perfect, Akash grinned. And then again, Akash was there. They lived in the same hostel room. And even though Nakul was always negative, thinking negative, and had a pessimistic approach towards everything around him, Akash was not getting irritated by it. So every time something like that happened, every time Nakul behaved that way, Akash would be very patient with him and very helpful as well. So again now, when Nakul says, well, I have to do all this, there is so much to memorize, Akash says, don't worry, I will help you. I will help you to practice these lines until you are perfect with every word. Word perfect, yes, says Akash, happily with a smile on his face. Nakul was glad for his generous offer, and with Akash's constant rehearsals, soon learned his lines. So Akash helped him, the practice went on. Yes, whenever they found some free time, they together would sit together, and then they would practice the lines. Akash helped Nakul to practice all those lines, memorize all those lines. And Nakul was now perfect with every dialogue that he had to say in the drama. But again, he's worrying. Now he says, I hope I won't forget the words. He looked tense before the curtains went up. It's the annual day, and it's their turn. It's the drama that is next up on the schedule, on the agenda. And Nakul is all dressed up in his role, yes, in his character. But now he's worried. What if I forget something in between? What if I forget a line? What if I forget few words? So worrying, right? So it becomes your nature when you do it a lot. It becomes your nature. So you will be doing that all the time. So even though he has perfectly learned all his lines, and Akash has told him, he has actually certified that you have done it perfectly, but still Nakul is worrying. Now his worry is, what if I forget? What if I forget? Now, and again Akash says very patiently, don't worry, the words will come to you easily. He encouraged him. He says, hey, don't think about forgetting. I'm sure that you will do great in the drama. So with that encouragement, with that reassurance, with that support, Nakul goes and then completes his role in the drama. To his surprise, Nakul found that he actually enjoyed his role. So he comes and says, thank Akash, you are a real gem, he said warmly. So the drama is over, Nakul has come out, and he's happy because he did a fantastic job. He was so good with his lines, the dialogues that he had practiced with the help of Akash. So he was actually worried that he might forget, but he didn't forget any lines, any words. So he comes back to Akash and thanks him and calls him a real gem. Gem means diamond. Yes, you're like a diamond. With your help, I was able to practice those lines, and everything went so well in the drama. And Akash says, I'm glad I could help you. The next day, the students were taken to a picnic spot. So the drama is over. Now the next event they have in the school is a picnic. Let's see what happens in the picnic with Nakul, and how Akash deals with that again in the next class.